Marxism, Socialism, Communism, and Fascism are not the same thing.
But the Republican Party is the party of jobs, safety, and freedom.
Now, I just want to stop right there for a moment. In this video, I'm going to show you clips of the orange turd talking about or giving his opinion about Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. And the thing to remember, and I'm sure you all know by now, but just remember if you're new to reality, just remember that everything he says is the opposite of the truth.
We will ensure that America never becomes a socialist or communist country.
Hello, everybody. It's Mr. Robbie, and it's Good Friday, and it's good to be back. Marxism, Socialism, Communism, and Fascism are not the same thing, and people just throw those words around way too often and way too loosely because they don't know what they mean.
Kamala Harris has kind of come out of nowhere, and she previously had extremely Marxist policy. We saw in the 2019 Democratic presidential debate.
What Marxist policy did she support, and can you define Marxism?
So what I can say with certainty is that Kamala Harris campaigned in 2019, a very failing campaign about redistribution of wealth.
As it relates to Marxism, you didn't define it there. Please define Marxism real quick.
Okay, listen, we're not getting into the definitions of this.
Marxism starts with Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. At its core, Marxism is a political and economic theory that argues that class conflict drives history. The basic idea is that capitalism creates inequality by concentrating power and ownership in the hands of a few, while workers do the labor. Marxism ultimately points toward a classless society with private ownership of the means of production abolished.
Remember when I used to say at rallies, we will never become a socialist nation. I used to say it all the time. And I was right. We've gone right to communism. That's a step. We've gone right to Marxism. We never were socialists because we skipped over socialism, Mr. Congressman. We skipped right over it. We went right to communism.
Socialism overlaps with some of that, but it's not identical. Socialism is generally about giving the community or the public more control over the economy instead of leaving everything to private owners and profit motives. That can include redistribution policies, stronger welfare systems, regulated markets, and public ownership in key areas.
The most serious challenges our countries face is the specter of socialism. Socialism and communism are about one thing only: power for the ruling class.
In many cases, socialism is presented as a more gradual or democratic approach rather than a revolutionary one. Communism is usually described as the more radical endpoint. It aims for a stateless, classless society where property is held in common and wealth and power are shared equally.
We're becoming a communist state. We're becoming a communist state, right?
In theory, communism is supposed to eliminate class divisions entirely. In practice, countries that claimed to be communist often looked very different from that ideal. Fascism is something else entirely. Fascism is a far-right authoritarian ideology built around extreme nationalism, centralized power, repression, and the suppression of opposition. It doesn't aim for equality. It doesn't prioritize worker control. It elevates the state, demands obedience, and it often promotes the dominance of one nation, race, or group over others. Individual freedoms are treated as secondary or disposable whenever they get in the way of power. So, the simplest way to put it is this. Marxism is a theory about class struggle and the overthrow of capitalist systems. Socialism is a broader system that pushes for more collective control and social equality, often through reform. Communism is the classless, stateless end goal that grows out of Marxist theory. And that's why lumping all of those ideologies together as if they mean the same thing is sloppy and misleading. Fascism is a right-wing authoritarian ideology based on nationalism, hierarchy, repression, and control. Now, some of these ideas overlap in certain areas about economics. Fascism doesn't. Fascism stands in direct opposition to the egalitarian goals claimed by Marxism, Socialism, and Communism.
America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control.
To be precise, the real divide is not just left versus right. It's also equality versus hierarchy and freedom versus authoritarian control.
Socialism's thirst for power leads to expansion, incursion, and oppression.